Imagine a tiny seed. It seems inert, almost insignificant, until it is placed in the soil. But something magical happens when the seed, which carries within it the masculine principle of potentiality, encounters the fertile soil, representing the feminine principle of nourishment and receptivity. Together, they initiate a process that transforms something seemingly simple into a majestic tree full of life and purpose. This natural phenomenon is a perfect manifestation of the axiom of gender, the seventh universal axiom. Just like the seed and the soil, everything in the universe, including our minds and spirits, depends on the interaction and balance between masculine and feminine energies to create, transform, and manifest. In this video, we will explore how this universal law applies to all aspects of existence, from the physical to the spiritual, revealing the secrets of how these two opposing yet complementary forces work together to sustain all creation. The axiom of gender is one of the most profound among the 7 universal axioms. It transcends the common notion of masculine and feminine, connecting to a universal dynamic of polarities that permeates all creation. At the core of this law lies the understanding that everything in the universe contains 2 complementary principles, the masculine and the feminine. These do not merely refer to biological or societal aspects, but to archetypal forces that shape the workings of all existence. The masculine represents active, expansive, and projective energy. It is the creative impulse, the initiating will, the spark that sets movement into motion. It is like the ray of sunlight touching the earth, without which life could not germinate. The feminine symbolizes receptive, nurturing, and generative energy. It is the fertile soil that transforms a seed into a tree. It embodies introspection, intuition, and the ability to create from within. These forces are not oppositional in the sense of conflict, but complementary, like 2 halves of a whole that together create universal harmony. Masculine energy is not exclusive to men, just as feminine energy does not belong solely to women. These forces are universal, residing within all beings, and are in constant interplay within us. In the universal context, masculine energy is the active principle, movement, logic, direction, and creative force. It is the spark that transforms potential into reality. Without it, there is no action. Without action, there is no creation. But like every universal principle, masculine energy requires balance. When in harmony, it is like a flowing stream, moving mountains and fertilizing lands. When imbalanced, it can become a destructive tsunami. Masculine energy is often symbolized by the sun, the sword, or lightning. These archetypes represent its nature. Masculine energy brings discernment and reason, light and clarity, illuminating the path ahead. It provides the drive to overcome obstacles and face challenges with strength and courage. Like an arrow aimed at its target, it is the force that keeps us focused on our goals. This energy is associated with the left hemisphere of the brain, which governs logical reasoning, analysis, and strategy. When well channeled, it makes us achievers. In Carl Jung's analytical psychology, masculine energy appears in archetypes such as the warrior. With his courage and discipline, he reminds us that strength lies not only in the physical, but also in the determination to face challenges. The king. A symbol of leadership and integrity, he guides with wisdom and creates stability. The magician. Who transforms knowledge into power, he represents logic and the curiosity of the masculine spirit. The lover. Who directs passion to create and nurture meaningful connections. These archetypes are facets of the masculine that we must integrate in balance to access our full potential. When masculine energy loses its balance, the signs are clear. The individual seeks to dominate everything and everyone, believing their vision is the only correct one. This authoritarianism manifests in rigid attitudes, leaving no room for listening or adapting. This posture suffocates relationships, blocks creativity, and creates a constant atmosphere of tension. The desire to compete becomes an addiction. Everything turns into a battle to prove superiority, even when unnecessary. In excessive competitiveness, this mindset breeds isolation, transforming allies into rivals. Logic takes full control, silencing all emotions. This can lead to a sense of emptiness, as if one is constantly battling the world without understanding why. Conversely, when masculine energy is lacking, certain issues arise. The potential exists, but the force to realize it is absent. The individual feels incapable of acting, delaying decisions and responsibilities, leading to procrastination and apathy. Days pass without purpose. Life becomes a sequence of meaningless actions, resulting in frustration and a sense of futility. This leads to insecurity and passivity. A lack of confidence in one's power leads to dependence on others to make decisions. Instead of leading, the individual becomes a spectator in their own life. The person demonstrates fragility in the face of challenges. Masculine energy gives us the courage to face difficulties. Without it, even minor obstacles become insurmountable barriers. Masculine energy is the fire that warms and transforms. When balanced, it guides us with courage, clarity, and purpose. It is not merely a force that builds, but also one that protects, leads, and inspires. Cultivating it is an act of self-love, a recognition of the divine power that exists within each of us. Feminine energy is the receptive, fluid, and intuitive side of all things. It manifests in the right hemisphere of our brain and is deeply connected to feelings, delicacy, intuition, attention to detail, insights, receptivity, ancestral wisdom, compassion, patience, lightness, creativity, and art. This force is present in everyone, regardless of biological gender, as one of the fundamental poles of universal balance. While masculine energy acts like an arrow moving forward, feminine energy is the space that embraces, transforms, and gives meaning to action. In the universal context, feminine energy is the passive principle, but not in the sense of inertia. Passivity here means receptivity, the ability to absorb, nurture, and transform. It is the mystery, the intuition that connects us to the invisible, the force that helps us create bonds and feel the flow of life in its fullness. This energy is manifested in moments of pause, inner listening, and compassion. It is what allows us to understand without words, feel beyond reason, and create from nothing. One of the most evident examples of feminine energy in nature is the lunar cycle. The moon, with its phases of growth and decline, symbolizes the fluidity, receptivity, and transformation that characterize feminine energy. Just as the moon influences the tides, feminine energy has an invisible but profoundly impactful power that governs cycles and processes. During the growth from the new moon to the full moon, we see the ability to embrace and nurture. While in the decline from the waning moon to the new, we perceive the power of introspection and renewal. This cycle reflects the very essence of the feminine, to create, transform, and rest in perfect harmony with the natural rhythm. Jung identified in the collective unconscious a series of archetypes that represent aspects of feminine energy. The mother. Nurturer, protector, source of life and security. This archetype represents the capacity to care for, nurture, and protect, both physically and emotionally. In nature, this is seen in animals caring for their young or in fertile soil that nourishes us. The maiden represents youth, potential, innocence, and curiosity. She is the creative energy and the beginning of new cycles. She symbolizes purity and enthusiasm for life, bringing a renewing energy. It is like spring, when everything blooms and new beginnings are possible. The crone, or wise woman, witch, represents introspection and the accumulated knowledge of life, which guides and illuminates with deep wisdom, like the waning moon that brings quietude and moments of reflection. The queen. This archetype unites the power to lead with the heart, to nurture. She is just and compassionate, governing with wisdom and balance. She represents feminine energy at its peak. But just like masculine energy, feminine energy can also become imbalanced, manifesting in harmful ways, either in excess or deficiency. When feminine energy is in excess, we lose our center and become dominated by emotions, lacking the structure needed to handle challenges. Everything becomes too intense. Small problems are amplified, and there is a tendency to drown in feelings like sadness, anxiety, or fear. There is a lack of boundaries. Extreme receptivity leads to an inability to say no. People, ideas, and situations enter one's life indiscriminately, causing overload or victimization. The person feels trapped by circumstances, unable to take control, and starts blaming external factors for their situation. Conversely, when feminine energy is deficient, we lose connection with our creative and nurturing essence, leading to a disconnection from intuition. There is difficulty in listening to oneself or understanding what others feel. The person becomes rigid, distancing themselves from the natural flow of life. Ideas stop arising. The inner world feels barren, and the joy of creating or nurturing disappears. Without feminine energy, empathy fades, and the person may become distant and cold. When feminine energy is balanced, the benefits become evident in various aspects of life. There is greater empathy, the ability to listen and understand others without overburdening relationships with unrealistic expectations or emotional dependencies. There is a reconnection with intuition. The power of feminine energy lies in its ability to generate life, deeply connect with others, and create from nothing. Like Mother Earth, who generates and nurtures. When balanced, it is a source of wisdom, creativity, and inner peace, allowing for the flow of life and the ability to adapt to challenges with serenity and strength. Its true power lies in its softness and its ability to perceive and transform the world from within. The axiom of gender transcends humanity and permeates the entire universe. From the vast cosmic expanses to microscopic processes, it is the force governing creation and motion. To understand this law in its entirety, we must observe its manifestations in different areas of existence where the masculine, active, and feminine, receptive principles collaborate to create, transform, and sustain. The axiom of gender is not confined to the visible world or the physical plane. According to the axiom, it is a force that traverses all levels of existence, manifesting uniquely and complementarily across the three great planes: the physical, mental, and spiritual. Each plane reflects this dance between the masculine and feminine principles, demonstrating how the universe is governed by the harmony of polarities. In the plant kingdom, the interaction between masculine and feminine energies is essential for the perpetuation of life. Pollen, masculine, is carried by the wind or insects to the ovary of flowers, feminine, where fertilization occurs, resulting in fruits and seeds. Many animals exhibit mating rituals that reflect this dance of polarities. The male courts, masculine action, and the female chooses and nurtures, feminine receptivity, ensuring the continuation of the species. In the grand theater of existence, the relationship between the masculine and feminine principles is like a cosmic dance where each plays an indispensable role in creation. The masculine principle bears the responsibility of directing energy, acting as the initial force that awakens and activates the creative potential of the feminine principle. However, it is the feminine, in its essence, that performs the act of creation itself. This dynamic manifests across all planes of existence, whether in the physical, mental, or spiritual realms. The feminine is the matrix that transforms impulse into form, giving life to what was once only a possibility. And yet, neither can act alone. The masculine, no matter how powerful, is incapable of producing results without the receptive feminine. And the feminine, no matter how fertile, lacks the creative impulse provided by the masculine. This union is reflected in the very structure of life. In many forms of existence, both principles are integrated into a single being, coexisting as inseparable parts of a whole. This is why in all aspects of the organic world, we find the masculine within the feminine and the feminine within the masculine, like yin and yang dancing in eternal harmony. Within every human being, there is a sun and a moon, a king and a queen. When both dance in harmony, the soul blossoms. The balance between masculine and feminine energies within us is the secret to achieving harmony, creating a powerful magnetic field capable of attracting anything we desire into our lives. The ancient alchemists called this union the alchemical marriage, symbolizing the fusion of the active masculine and receptive feminine principles to create a whole and awakened being. This internal marriage is the key to transforming the ordinary self into an enlightened and fulfilled version of oneself. The alchemical marriage is not merely a metaphor, but a spiritual and psychological practice that refers to the process of integrating internal opposites. Masculine energy represents logic, action, and focus, while feminine energy symbolizes intuition, receptivity, and creativity. Together, they form the perfect unity, like the yin and yang in Taoism, where each force contains a bit of the other. Before achieving balance, it is essential to recognize which of these two energies do you perceive most strongly in your life. This reveals which internal energy is currently dominant. Now, let us explore some simple practices to help balance these energies within you. Dance and body movement. Dance is both a symbolic and physical practice that balances both energies. Dance freely, letting your body flow to the rhythm of the music, feminine. Then incorporate deliberate and rhythmic movements, masculine. Cultivate intuition and action. Integrate moments of introspection with concrete actions. Dedicate time to listen to your intuition, feminine, before acting, but plan your steps clearly, masculine, to manifest your intentions. Before starting a creative project, allow yourself to dream and visualize. Then develop a structured plan to execute it. Work with internal archetypes. In the unconscious, the masculine and feminine principles can be seen as archetypes such as the king and queen, or the warrior and the sage. Ask yourself which internal archetype needs to be strengthened. Visualize yourself embodying the qualities of that archetype in your daily life. The integration of these energies is not just a spiritual practice, but something that can be applied to your routine. Here's how to bring balance to different areas of life. At work, use your masculine energy to organize tasks and achieve goals, but trust your feminine energy to find creative and intuitive solutions. In relationships, allow the masculine to lead with courage and protection, while the feminine nurtures, understands, listens, and embraces. Healthy relationships reflect the balance between these energies. In spirituality, seek the divine with discipline and devotion, masculine, but also with surrender and trust, feminine. In esoteric traditions, the alchemical marriage is often represented by the union of archetypes, such as the marriage between the king and queen in medieval alchemy. This symbol reminds us that true union does not happen outside of us, but within. When we recognize that all polarities exist within our own soul, the union of the masculine and feminine is not the meeting of two opposing forces, but the fusion of what we already are. It is the moment when we cease being fragments and become the whole. We have reached the end of this journey through the 7 universal axioms, a dive into the depths of the ancient wisdom that governs all existence. These principles are not merely abstract concepts. They are practical tools capable of transforming how we see and interact with the world. From consciousness to gender, each axiom has shown us that everything is interconnected and that universal harmony is achieved when we live in alignment with these eternal truths. Now, the true journey begins within you. The universal axioms are not teachings confined to words. They must be lived, felt, and experienced. As students on the path of light, it is up to us to apply these principles daily, whether to harmonize the mind, balance emotions, or align our soul with the cosmic rhythm. Remember, the master key is now in your hands, awaiting the moment your consciousness decides to use it. May the wisdom of the ancients always guide you, and may you become the master of your own reality. But what if mastering these axioms unlocks not just your reality, but the ability to perceive a reality beyond anything we currently comprehend? A hidden layer of existence, a cosmic secret waiting to be unveiled by those who truly understand the dance.